Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Darwin's Game Season 1 on Netflix. And I overall really enjoyed this anime, even though it was like 12 episodes, even though how it's ordered, it's like 11 episodes. Like, the first was kind of split into two parts. But I enjoyed this more than I thought I was going to. It's your typical kind of death battle anime, but it was enough that it did its own kind of thing that I was like, okay, I'm kind of into this. This kind of works out pretty well. I like the kind of characters and kind of how their whole kind of setup actually works. So I was surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did, even though there were some weird ass fan service things that kind of got thrown in there for no reason whatsoever. It didn't completely detract from it. The only thing that the fan service really kind of got nutty on at the end was how everybody started pretty much doing harem dick riding shit towards the end of it. Just like, okay, sure, let's see how this works. So, we first see that this one dude's getting chased, tries to get some help. Evidently, he barely has enough points for help call. Tries to send it to this dude named Kaname, his friend, but he gets killed by this dude who's like a panda and that can turn invisible. It's like, what the hell's going on here? Well, that goes to our main character, Kaname's phone. He's like in school next day. He's like, what the fuck is this kind of thing for Darwin's game? Clicks on it, and to get into the game app, and he then gets bit by this snake thing and introduced into this game. It's like, what the fuck's going on? Of course, one of his other friends is in on it as well, and is like, you shouldn't have done that, but we got out to figure out what's going on, because the panda dude then goes after and tries to kill Kaname. He's like, what the fuck? Getting chased around. It was actually kind of funny, but also kind of serious as it was going down, so you're like, okay, what the fuck's going on here? And police officer's like, what the fuck's going on with this panda dude? Panda dude kills him, but his friend comes out of nowhere with pretty much like a crossbow. He's like, come on, let's run from this shit. But of course, he gets injured, and Kaname pretty much tries to do some shit in his parking garage to try and figure out a way out of this. When the dude gets fucking jacked up and killed by a car that accidentally hit him when he was invisible. It's like, what the fuck did I hit? I don't know. Yeah, fuck you, dude. As he then digitizes, we see that these street art things that have been alluded to on the news are these people dying and digitizing and being teleported. It's like, that's kind of weird. Kaname's like, I don't want to kill, I want to survive. And we see that this Shuka chick is like, ooh, okay. And she pretty much is like a copy of Misa from Death Note. However, not complete copy. She can do shit on her own. She's like a high-ranking A-rank player. And she kind of wants to know what's going on with Kaname. And she's kind of pretty much tries to give him the lowdown. He's like, I want out. How the fuck do I get out of this shit? She's like, you can like win the game or die, I guess. It's like, she's like, alright then, show me your signal. It's like, I don't fucking know what you're talking about. Because he had won that one round with the panda, had pretty much purchased a weapon accidentally. It's like, what the fuck? It's kind of funny when it's like, hey, it's like Amazon, but not. And it's just like, whoop. It's like, alright, that'll kind of work. And she's like, I don't know if I can trust you. And then tries to pretty much kill his ass. But he's like able to utilize some shit and pretty much gets her to a scenario where after he's used his sigil a lot, which was pretty much making him forging things that he's been able to like touch or whatnot, weapons, he's able to get her down, and she's like, alright, I admit defeat, and then he gets some points, and then he passes out, and then he wakes up, and she's naked for some reason, and they try to explain it away, and she's like, oh, to make a family. It's like, what? She's like, oh yeah, client, I dragged you here, you were heavy, I tended to your wound, I didn't want to wrinkle my dress, so I took it off, and then I slept because I was sleepy. I'm like, I at least give you credit for trying to explain it. Yet here we are. It's like, oh, alright. Now, normally, I don't care about that. Usually if it's used comedic effect, Kaname is like, what the what's going on here? Because he's like, what did she do to me when I was asleep? And Yes. It just needed a little bit more work, and especially since there's like 12 episodes, it's the working and the execution of it. It's like, all right, fan service, check. We then get to them pretty much try to figure out what to do with the game. They do get this invitation to this like treasure hunt thing. It's like, have you done this kind of thing? And she's like, no, I don't know what the fuck's up with this. He then also is pretty much, since he is main protagonist, like Jesus Coon of this thing going on, everybody's pretty much like, who's this up and cover that defeated the noob killer and defeated one of the highest ranking people in this game? And of course, this one dude's like, hey, I got you. When they're like going around shopping, they have some kind of cute character interactions where he's like, yeah, I kind of like that dress you got. Like, all right, cool, I'll buy this. And then they're just like buying a lot of shit. We learn later on that Shuka's in the game because her parents were like in the game and somebody killed him and she's doing it for revenge. I'm like, all right, cool, basic motivations, but she's such a good player of the game that she's racked up a lot of stuff, and she's like super rich, so that's why she's able to do the kind of stuff that she does. Well, Kaname had to deal with this dude, and he was able to pretty much get him into an endgame scenario where it's like, no, you're done, fuck off. It's like, yeah, I guess we're on this too, huh? Interesting, right? Nobody knows. Let's see what goes on. Then we get into the middle arc as this is going on. This Rain character is pretty much an information broker kind of chick that is a middle schooler that's got a sigil that she can see possibilities, and pretty much in the future saved her one friend from being killed by a car. And she just like deals with points and all that kind of stuff and doesn't really get in on the action very much until we get into this. Kaname gets sucked into this hotel place during the event. Shuka is kind of outside and they're trying to meet up. You have to have at least 3 rings on you. Otherwise, you die. There's like 300 people and like 100 rings. Or you meet the conditions of like finishing the treasure hunt. And we also see that this Wong, they pronounce it Wong even though it's spelled Wang. I don't know. This crazy ass motherfucker there's like, I like to kill people. And he pretty much kills people, taking out a lot of like other kind of territory gangs, and has a fucking jar of like fingers that he like drinks shit out of. It's like, alright. He's pretty much a sadistic fuck, and they try and give him a little bit of humanization, but I'm like, yeah, he's still a sadistic fuck. I really don't feel sorry for him because he took joy in harming others, and when others were pretty much stopping him, he then starts to bitch and complain about how unfair that is. I have sympathy and empathy for a lot of things. When a dick who continuously, like, fucks over other people gets fucked over themselves, we'll see. But he's going around trying to do this. Our group, he pretty much tries to figure out what's going on in this building. The florist is, like, trapped a lot of people, takes over the brains of some of them with the plants. He teams up with Rain. They're able to pretty much stop the florist dude with some pretty cool action kind of stuff. Kaname's almost fucked over, but he's able to kind of like pull it out, even though the dude's got like super impenetrable armor. They're like, all right, we got a lot of rings here. Let's kind of team up and do a clan kind of thing. They go the kind of Naruto route of like talk no jutsu kind of shit, but I actually kind of prefer that because it's usually kind of harder to do, and just randomly killing and being like, I took the blood of my enemies. That kind of gets old to me after a while too. Well, granted, it's also in how the execution gets handled out. If it's just like stupid shit, like you say, blueberries and peanuts, and that somehow gets people to stop trying to kill you, that's fucking stupid, and of course would be dumb, and I would knock the fucking shit out of that. However, that doesn't happen here. We learned that the florist dude is trying to like have money for his kid, and that's why he's in the game. He's like, I'm gonna die anyway. Let's fucking get this shit for my kid. And I'm like, alright. So they pretty much feel like, Wong's gonna be coming at us. Let's get whatever we can. However, Shuka, in her way there, got like beset upon by this really weird little lolly ass kid, who we find out is a girl, but is somehow possessed by the spirit of her dead brother, who is a bloodthirsty, ice controlling asshole. So they have, like, problems that have to deal with them. Kaname is able to rescue the Shuka chick. She's like, ooh, you kissed me, well, because you prefer CPR, but I'm going to give you a reverse kiss. It's like, I don't mind it. I need more time for it to actually work out that way. They weren't really, really annoying, but it's enough on my meter to be like, you getting a little strutty there with that shit. Just, you could take the time and have it work out pretty well. It's just more like, she's completely in love with him, and it's kind of annoying. It's like, alright. He's just like, I want to get out of the death game. And I'm like, it's funny. They give Kaname the problems of, like, the Jesus King character that can do no wrong, but I really identify with him because it's not because he's doing anything completely and utterly out of nowhere or ass-pulling and thinks he's the greatest or whatnot. He's like, I just want to get out of this fucking stupid thing. And I'm just like, yeah, but see, that's where I am the boring motherfucker. If I get sent some kind of weird link, I don't fucking click it. So granted, that means that this shit doesn't happen, and I'm boring as fuck. But then I don't have to deal with all this crazy ass shit. So they kind of regroup. They're trying to figure out what's going on. They see that the rings have some kinds of coordinates. They're like, we need a diamond one to kind of figure out what the hell's going on with all this. They're able to get that, get the code, get to Shibuya Station. However, Wong is able to kind of get there too. Rain gets captured, and he's pretty much doing child torture at this point to be like, yeah, you can tell me what the fuck's going on. But of course, Kaname and the rest are able to kind of like get her out of trouble. However, the one kind of giant dude that has like a machine gun, Ryuji, who looks like one of Kaname's friends that is dead, is like, I'm gonna take this dude out because he killed my brother, and has his arm fucking chopped off, and is in a kind of shitty ass place. But Kaname is able to kind of like, Rain was able to figure out what the codes meant. He's able to get the treasure, and then Wong and everybody gets teleported out. And then he gets it, talks to the dudes like, I want this fucking thing. I want out. Oh, you can't do that. You either have to win the game or kill my ass. So like, all right, can you give me this as my like player thing? All right, player advantage. And it's really kind of sad because it's kind of interesting because I want to see Kaname and the creator of the game kind of like have their battle. So I don't know if they're going to continue this or see kind of where it goes out. But we see that he has created a clan, the Sunset Ravens, Shuka, Rain, Ice Water Demon Little Lady, Sweet Sota, yes, Ryuji, and of course Kaname and all that. It's like, alright, I kind of dig this group. Interesting character dynamics, interesting characters. We see that he pretty much trained with this dojo dude, and he's like, I want to make an alliance. It's like, alright, fight me then. Has his little fight thing with the dude. He's like, alright. But then he gets captured by, like, the top ranked player, Lou, Fox Lady Mask, Lou Jai, Lou. She's an assassin hit woman lady, and it's like, alright, what the fuck's going on? Shuka's freaking the fuck out because that's like the entirety of our identity now. And they pretty much get a Humvee and are like going after him. And we learn that she thinks he's got a lot of talent and shit for like combat and war and wants to continue her line and wants to fuck him and have a baby. And just like, okay. I'm just like, alright, fine, you fucking weirdo. So then they gotta fight, and he's like, alright, I'll go with you if you could, like, escape from my peeps without killing them. And they have a pretty kind of cool fight, where they pretty much get into a stalemate. She's like, fine, okay, I'll lie with you, but, he's like, yeah, if you try and backstab us, backstab me first. Like, alright, cool. And I'm just like, alright. Then we see that Rain was talking with this other chick that was in another clan. She's like, yeah, I want to join the Sunset Ravens because I want to talk to Kaname and whatnot. I was like, sweet Jesus. Everybody's trying to jump on his dick, and it's like towards the end of the series, and I'm just like, alright. Whatever, cool. And I can kind of get it, but since it's like 12 episodes, you kind of need a little bit longer to kind of like build that shit up. Granted, 2 months has been a lot of time, but we don't like go through all those 2 months ourselves with the character to kind of see that legend build. It's just suddenly took out Wong's gang because Wong had pretty much we'd seen that I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but it's like, okay, cool, whatever, alright. We needed a little bit more, but then we get towards the end portion of it where Wong kidnaps his last friend and chops off his fingers, and Kaname's like, this is bullshit, we're gonna do it. And they enlisted the help of the one kind of dojo kids, like, yeah, we got a lot of people that he had like fought before. And he's like, yeah, alright, I'll kind of help you guys out. They like just wreck the shit out of Wong's group. Shuka pretty much like chops fucking Wong to like bits, and he's like screaming, I'm the protagonist. So we see the stuff from his different angle. I'm like, I don't care. You, granted, people were shitty towards you guys, but that doesn't give you permission to act shitty towards everybody else. That doesn't give you permission to do that. You know what I mean? The justification to be an asshole and do all that kind of shit. And he's like, yeah, you're the king poison kind of thing, and Kaname just shoots his ass. And he goes nuts because Wong had killed his friend. And I'm like, oh shit. So we kind of see that kind of descent where he goes kind of kill happy, but not really. He's not murdering everybody wantonly, but I'm like, god damn. And we see that his thing is a high roller privilege, pretty much taking all their points and taking their territory, and they then take Shibuya, and people are trying to like fight him and everything. Is like, yeah, Darwin's game is outlawed here. You know, do that. They're like, kill everybody but one person. Be like, yeah, you say that shit. It's like, okay, cool. And yeah, and then we see that the game admin talks to this like one top player. It's like, yeah, don't mess with this dude. I kind of want to see what he does. It's like, all right, fine. And then we see another special event where Kanabe's got to hunt shit, and that's where the anime ends. So I was kind of surprised because I'm like, wow, okay, interesting premise. Granted, a lot of death game kind of stuff, and that kind of just happens. But they did enough of a spin. The characters are interesting enough, and I like to follow how Kaname would kind of go through this. So I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Action scenes were pretty well done. Like, they weren't like the most spectacular thing ever, but they were definitely interesting enough that I didn't get bored watching them, and I kind of wanted to see what other people would do and how this kind of sigil system would kind of work out. So I was like, yeah, alright. So, would I recommend this? Yes, to those that are age appropriate and don't mind gore. However, there's gore in this, but there's some parts where it's like censored for some reason, and I'm just like, yeah, we're all here, we all see what's going on. Why the fuck would you kind of like half-ass this where it's like blood, guts, and everything over here, and we're gonna kind of like censor this part here? It made no sense, but I'm like, alright, you're gonna do what you gotta do. So, yeah, I was happy with this, and I'd hope they do more with it, but if not, I'm kind of cool where it ended. So those are my opinions on the anime. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.